What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Salud Cabrones podcast. I am Danny Villegas.
And I'm still Javier Ledesma.
Before we get started, we ask you to like, comment, subscribe, and share the Salud Cabrones podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And follow us on all social media platforms at Salud Cabrones Podcast. And a big special thanks to our sponsors, the Law Office of Christopher Hoff and the Taco Villa in Villa Park. Big shout out to Chris Hoff and Bear Mysterio.
Bear, I know you're sad right now, buddy.
Yeah,
Bears aren't
the Bears,
doing so well.
Bears ain't doing good. He's drowning his sorrows right now, bro.
His sorrows,
tacos
man.
and beer and
Tacos
tequila,
and beer, bro.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure right about now he's removing the nail polish he started the season off with.
I don't know who got on that board. I'm telling you, man. I saw people do that. I was like, okay, you're going to regret it. You go ahead and do what you're going to do, my guy. I'm never going to let you live that down. Let me tell you. I got pictures, screenshot. I was like, it's on.
A couple quarterbacks from now, people are going to bring up freaking receipts. Remember this?
You have no right to speak.
Hold on, before we get further, let's introduce our guest before we get further into that conversation. We can start off with that conversation, but Javier, as we kick off this beautiful Friday evening, feeling like fall, my favorite season, man. I had my pumpkin spice coffee earlier, bro. It was fucking beautiful. I love it, bro. I'm real fucks. Real men drink pumpkin spice, bro. We got a special fucking podcast today.
Is that real? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Fuck
Real
yeah,
men drink
bro.
pumpkin spice?
Real men drink pumpkin spice and listen to Taylor Swift, homie. Fuck
you know
bro.
what?
That's what we do.
Right now, my cousin Eddie's listening to this, going like, "Fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about."
Man, Eddie, what's up, Eddie? Man, let's get together for a pumpkin spice date, bro.
Let's just,
I got
he
you,
got
bro.
a daughter. He
That's
got a daughter. That's all I'm saying. That's how I know. In my house, pumpkin spice is women only.
Bam.
And then my gay stepson. And then he's like, so good. So good. And I got a donut and shit. Yeah.
Man.
Sprinkled.
Dude,
Sprinkled.
man, that just makes I got pumpkin spice cream at home. I got pumpkin spice donut. I got pumpkin spice all in my house, bro. I love it.
Get some
Man.
pumpkin spice bourbon.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad
I'm
idea.
with that.
That's not a bad idea.
All the dudes that are like kind of on the fence about drinking pumpkin spice coffee, they're like, I'll fuck with that. I'll fuck with that.
Oh man! So before we go any further, let's get into our guest, man. We get into one of my brothers right here, man. I met this cat on a film set, man. Yeah. And it's funny because me, him, and Enrique Guzman. Booties. We took a. It's funny because we took a picture one day and on the set, and we all posted it on our social medias, and everyone thought us three were brothers, man. And it caught it had my wheels turning.
Lack of hair, huh? Fuckers.
That's what it was, bro. Yeah. And then so I'm like, let me fucking, you know what? I'm gonna write my own short film just based off of three brothers, and that's what I did, man. And this gentleman came along. He's dabbling in some acting, but most importantly, he is a business owner running his own gym, U Fitness, ladies and gentlemen. He is a fitness guru. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Chris Marquez in the building. Yes, golf clap. What's up, brother?
Thank you very much.
Man, thanks for coming through, bro. Thank you.
Man, brother, I feel so blessed. Thank you so much for being here. I always have a good time with D, man. I think since we first met.
Always, bro. We kicked it off right away.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we kicked it off.
Sure did look like brothers, too, I'll tell you. Everybody was bald headed. It was like 3 bald heads, all you see, boys. And then with Enrique with the booty, it was done all day long. That's all we did.
Man, it was a good time from there, bro. Man, that whole weekend, he got him saying putis from the last time when he was on the podcast. But that was I told this guy that started from the film, bro. The film we did. That was his saying all weekend.
Yeah.
I can't not say it now. Anytime we mention his name on the podcast for whatever reason, whenever he gets a shout out, it always follows with putis.
If I don't text him for a couple months, I still text him like, damn, booty. I text him and he's like, what up? I'm like, yo, I got a question, but it always starts, damn, booty. Like, I don't know how to talk to him without it, man.
So I met him the day that we did the episode with him on the podcast.
Yeah.
And literally the door opens and he comes in. What's up with this? I don't even actually see him yet. He's off in the distance somewhere, and that's the very first thing I hear. Is, what's up with this?
You are in for a show, anytime you're around Reek, man. Anytime you're around Reek, I had some drinks with him at a bar. I'm done, man. I think I had a personality. That boy's like this big. Yeah. And I'm just behind him like, look, I got his back. I don't know what's about to happen, but damn.
Yeah,
you know, the funny thing is, you see his Instagram, and he's got all these pictures where he's all like, all GQ and shit. and you meet him, and you're thinking you're gonna get like the serious ass like person and shit. What's up, man? What's up?
Not a serious bone in that boy's body, man. Not a serious bone in that boy's body. Only when he's acting. After that, it's straight. After, that boy's in it, man.
100% true, man. 100%
Love that
Man,
guy. Shout out
shout out to Enrique, dog.
Shout out, my boy.
Shout out, Booties.
Shout out, Booty.
Oh man, but no, brother, you've been fucking. How long you been having this U Fitness for, bro? Your gym, man. I had the luxury of going to work out at your gym one day, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful gym, man.
Thank you.
Proud of you, man. I know that was your dream one day to open up your own gym. You did the damn thing, man. It's fucking.
Yeah.
I see it's going good.
Yeah, no, it's going great. You know, I have been in the fitness industry on the management and the corporate side for so long. You kind of just really do get sour taste in your mouth with the numbers game and kind of how you treat people. And I've always been a man of service in that sense. So I started off in like 1-2 clients, like literally during COVID, the first year COVID hit. And I was working at Studio 3 as a GM. They let me go after about 8 weeks on the payroll. And then I said, you know what, forget this, man. I'm just going to run myself. I was Ubering. I started to Uber for a minute. First client came right out of the car. She was pregnant, worked for the DA's office here, or her husband did, here in the city. And talking to her, and I was like, yeah, I can train. So I started to train her. Obviously, I'm hitting these books for pregnant women because she's pregnant. You got to take serious. And then somebody called me, saw a couple of my videos that I was doing in the house. Said, you training? I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's get it. And literally, right from there, it was like June of the first year of COVID. What was that, 19 or something like that?
20.
20.
Yeah, so 20. And that summer, started June, started training in the park. And her house, 2, 3, 5, 10, just started to happen more and more and more. Man, it was just born. I needed it. I was going crazy in that house, man. It was just me at first. So
Now I know a little bit of your story, but was fitness always the journey for you?
no. I've always like I did boxing. You know, I did things that I enjoyed, but it was never a vision to make it where this is what I wanted to do. Everything I've ever done has been something in sales, and then realizing even everything I sold was kind of in the service of people and what they wanted. But honestly, I never imagined that I was going to be a fitness coach, a fitness trainer, and then a coach to the kids and the things that I've built up. But not once, man. It's kind of funny because even that didn't happen until I was like 38, 39. So it just came really late in the process.
So where did that come from?
I think it was really the situation. I was in just a really, really bad, toxic kind of relationship with my ex-wife. Loved my kids, the situation, but we were just not good for each other. It was literally like oil and vinegar. I mean, like water, vinegar, oil, you say. And I was at this point where I was just off of work from the education. I was working at the VRI at the time, and I took a leave of absence for medical. And at this point, I was like, man, 280. I was almost 300 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I was almost 300 pounds. I just partied. I ate all day long. And I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And I just didn't feel myself, man. Everything was just kind of erupting inside. So when I took off for medical leave, export was right down the block. Started one day, just let me get back to getting to myself. And honestly,
sorry to interrupt, but were you, before you ballooned up to this weight?
Yeah.
Were you, prior to that, were you a person that was regularly in shape, or were you just kind of average and then you just kind of ballooned up and then that's where things kind of struck a nerve? And
I think it was built up in the process. So I'll tell you, I started to gain weight right in like 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
And then, but that was partying. You know, you're out night partying. You don't do anything anymore. So it wasn't more of a psychological thing where I know we tend to overeat. Some people eat for their emotion and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just partying. I got to that point where I was drinking beer all day long, and I was on house arrest. Real talk. I was on home confinement. So those days of those 6-7 months on home confinement was nothing but an ounce of weed and literally just liquor. So, and then I was learning how to cook. That was where I first learned how to cook arroz con andole. That was kind of cool. Calling my titi, like, how do you make this? You put this in this. I was like, cool. But I gained like 15 pounds in that 8 months, that 6 to 8 months of the first thing. So I think it started from that young age, 20, but I never let it balloon so much to that point. I would stay around that 250, 260, but I never got up to like 300 to where I was wearing a size 44 in pants. It's just, you breathing heavy for everything, you know?
yeah.
You know, hostess got a new cupcake coming out.
It's a bad motherfucker.
Bad
You
motherfucker.
bite into it, cream fill it all in your mouth.
Sprinkles come out. Like, that was there. You know what I mean? I was having dreams of, like, steak sandwiches with cheese and cheese fries and shit at night. I'm like, I need one of those. And Father and Sons was right on my fast diet. Like, go. But, yeah, I think that at that year with my ex-wife was just really, it was actually, like, one of the last years that we knew we were done at that point. Still living together. But the drive really came from that. And it was just to get the fuck away.
Yeah.
If I want to be honest, I just didn't want to be in the house. You know, I was going crazy. So one day felt good, 2 days felt good, and then boom, boom. And then I got a job there because she mentioned it. She was like, you're there so much, why don't you get a job? And I took the rise compensation. They gave me comp, fired everybody. Sure enough, got a sales job in there, and the rest was history as far as that. I was in sales, I just started killing sales. Moved up the ladder real quick, and so I spent about 8-9 years in corporate fitness before I decided to move forward and become a trainer, and then all that just kind of grew into it. So
Okay.
but yeah, learning the management side was kind of cool.
So you said you were on house arrest 7-8 months.
Yeah.
You mind talking with I mean,
Yeah,
did you just ran with the wrong crowd and you were, it was like
They were stealing Hostess cups, and
Nah,
Twinkies and shit.
Hostess was the shit, man. Well, I'm originally from the East Coast, so it's Tasty Cakes.
Tasty
I don't
Cakes
know
for you?
if they would- Oh man, I love Tasty Cakes.
We're Latinos, bro. It's Gancitos for Mexicans.
So obviously I moved to Chicago in '89. I was originally from the East. I'm from the Bronx originally.
really okay.
So yeah, I was born in the Bronx, and then my mama was kind of a Rolling Stone, wanted to get away from my dad. So we went to Connecticut. We went to Hartford for a little bit, and then from Hartford, we went to San Diego. Hence, I had some issues in San Diego. But we went from Hartford to Pennsylvania, right on the outskirts of Philly. Stood there, did a stunt in foster care, in I'd say about 6 years in there. Moved to San Diego.
How old were you when you got in foster?
6 years old.
You were 6?
6, yeah.
You did 6 years in there?
So 6, yeah. So right about 6 to 11 and a half, 12.
Really?
Yeah, bounced around different houses, Audi homes.
If you don't mind me asking, so like you being 6 years old, at 6 years old, you already know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you getting put in a foster home and you're bouncing from house to house. What are you feeling at that time?
I think at that point I was lost, wasn't sure as to where I was headed. My mom burned me with an iron, so it was a lot of pain to go through physically and then mentally, kind of get fucked up. So I was still didn't want to be taken away. So that's kind of what's weird. You know what I mean? Like I still didn't want to be taken away from my mom. I still wanted to stay. I'm sitting here wrapped up with bandages. I got these burns that are all over my body. But when they took me, it just the way it felt, like I literally got pulled out of this Spanish culture, and I got put into, I think, every culture besides a Latino. I didn't even live with one Latino from there on out. Everything was black, white. Throughout foster care, it was all black and white that I lived with. So it was a different change. It was a different game. I think for me, this is when, like, the ability to adapt really, I think, kind of came through that. I went to the first house I got to. First, I went to the Audi home, or the home, and then I got to a house. It was literally fucking cows and chickens and horses, and I was in like a country. And if you're familiar with like the outskirts of Pennsylvania, you got like the Amish and stuff like that. So I wasn't too far from that area. But you're talking about a city, boy. Everything I've ever been is a city. Even at a young age, I was running wild. Like I was out till midnight at 5 years old. Like I was running wild. My mom was just always on kind of a party mode, drugs, things like that. So even at 5, I wasn't watched too well. But that was a complete change. It turned out they only kept me 1 week. That I wasn't for them. Like I remember, like they were pushing me because my leg wasn't healed, so I couldn't walk. So they were pushing me in like a baby cart, in like this big carnival.
Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. If I felt so fucking awkward at that age, at that point, even at that point at that age, that I was being pushed in a baby cart.
So with foster care, is it like if you're getting a pet, like, oh, I don't want it, so I just give it back?
So essentially, a parent has the opportunity to see if it works for their family.
That's fucking crazy, man.
It was super awkward. I remember I don't remember because it was so short, so I don't remember a lot. But I remember being in a basement. They had like 3 other kids.
Yeah.
And just like I wasn't there, I was sitting down. Nobody paid attention. Yeah, they kind of walked around, and so I was just sitting there, for a moment.
So you mentioned that you jumped from family to family. and you went from African American family and a white family. Being a Latino, a lot of us have those same shared memories where we're like, oh, we remember doing this during Christmas or whatever that, or this, and that. We have all the same similarities. Walking through those next couple of years for you, that now you're going into somebody else's structured home. What is it that you're taking away from those, like as far as like customs, traditions, things like that, that you literally experienced something that no other Latino probably has, you know? Like there's things about you that probably we would never understand.
Yeah. You know, I love that question. I think even at 48 right now, I still I still kind of pick away at things. And I love customs. I love the idea of understanding. Because I think there's always a lot of miscommunication. You know, we all have these stereotypes that we all kind of grew up with. I did found a general foundation in every family, regardless of what it is. But when the first family I got in were Caucasian. They were Caucasian, so a lot of different practices. And I guess I try hard not to say things, but if I could be kind of blunt, I just always felt a little belittled, a little underneath, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I guess that's, you know, I'm a newbie, and they had 2 kids, and the 14-year-old was super abusive, so he used to like to beat on me when the parents would go out for shopping every Sunday. He'd play this fucking game with me, like he'd lock off on the front of the kitchen if I wanted to grab something to drink. He's like, you got to get by me, you know.
How old are you at this
6 years old at this time.
Wow.
So trying to get by him, you know, it was a fight for every little thing. He just enjoyed the hell out of it. But I do know some cultural differences, and when I got with a brother, when I got with an African American, it was probably my best time because the symmetry, everything was so alike to my lifestyle. Like he had little nephews and nieces with the nappy hair like I had. I had these big curls, and they talked like me. We acted like. So I love that. But he was married to a Caucasian woman, so there was a good split and blend. And that was my last foster family who, you know, he ended up being my karate master. I won tournaments, championship belts, everything at that age. But he came towards the end of that 6-year stint. I was with him for like 1.5 years, almost 2. But the beginning was, you never really got fit in. It never really worked. The family that I was with for that first year, that was that family that it was just super abusive. And right about that second year and being with them, I had already started running away. So I was 7.5, I would say 7.5 years old. I started running away. I wasn't even trying to hear it anymore. Always would come back, but I was trying to explore the city. I was trying to explore and always trying to find my old territory. To a kid, 7 years old, even a small city like Reading, Pennsylvania, seemed freaking huge.
Yeah.
But it's really small. So I was at school one day, and there was this kid, Teddy, and he was like, you know, where you from, blah? And I'm by 10th and Green. I'm over here by this. My grandpops had a store over here. He was like, I know exactly where that's at. I'm in 3rd grade, y'all. You know, I'm like, you do? He's like, yeah, I know exactly where it's at. I was like, take me. We took a 10-minute, 15-minute walk, sure enough, just straight down and right into my old neighborhood. And I was just lost, a mixed, overwhelming emotion of like, man, I'm this close to where my mom is, to where my brother is. And here I'm for last 1.5 years, because my mom stopped coming to see me at the courthouse. She just stopped. My mom did time in jail for what she did with me. So I became a ward of the state at a very young age, which came, as I understand now, came up with a lot of good benefits. And I think it's important to realize the good in everything.
How long was she incarcerated for?
I think she did a little over a year.
Okay.
But when she came back for the visitations, she showed up twice and then never came to the courthouse after that. Mm-hmm. So I would show up every week on the week, hoping I'd see her, and it just never happened. And that's a mind.
Yeah, it's a mind fuck, man. For a little kid that is just expecting to see his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
Yeah.
So then you said you were in till 11, 12 years old?
Yeah, so I did so when I left my first family, the Borelli's family, when I left them, I think they just got fed up with me. They actually saw me. I ended up bumping into my mom and my brother when I started running away.
Oh, wow.
And that even made it more so. So that once I found them, like 2 trips that way. Once Teddy took me over there, I went back on my own. I was like, oh, I went to my grandfather's store. So
now
my grandfather's like,
you
what's
run
up?
away to go find them. You
Yeah,
find them,
100%.
and now what do they
100%.
what do they tell you?
So the first person I got to see was my brother, my oldest brother, who, for what it's worth, my oldest brother is probably the only father figure I had for a very long time, as a kid. But when he saw me, couldn't believe me, hugged me, he brought me into this house, and all this joy was just in my blood. And I remember the day so well because he was cooking eggs with white rice. Boricuas do that shit, right? So he's cooking eggs with white rice. We're sitting talking. He's like, I can't believe he's asking me questions. We're waiting for my mom to come. So my mom finally comes in. My mom is really good at just kind of like, life is life. Like, it's good to see you, mijo. It's good to see you, but...
And you're how old at this day?
I'm about 7.5 at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen her in like a year easy. So it felt like a lifetime,
Okay.
How old was your brother? I'm curious how there was nothing that was done. Why wasn't he separated?
So my brother he got lucky. He went with my aunts. I don't know if I call it lucky. We were all from a very super dysfunctional family. So my titi Lucy, may her soul rest in peace, was a very God-given woman. She serviced the church her whole life, was a saint. She took him in, but she had 5 kids herself, the Cruz family. So she had 5. My brother is 4 years older than me, so it's not a big differential where he could take care of me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So at that point he was 11, but he's always been a stud too. He was a fighter. He was a street dude. People knew his name in that streets in Reading, Pennsylvania. They knew his name. So he had like 10 court cases in a 3-month process and
Yeah.
3-month time slot. So he had his own issues at that point. But so my brother went with my aunt. My mom went and did her time. When she got back, he came back until his time to get locked up, because then he did a little stint too as well. But
Okay.
that's for future reference.
Yeah.
But so I was about 7.5, 8 when we finally talked. And after I think like the 3rd or 4th time that I snuck over there and saw him, my mom went to drop me off in a car, and my foster parents was driving down the car looking for me. So the cars went like this, and I wasn't paying attention. When I saw them, I knew they saw me. I tried to duck, and my mom was like, don't worry, they don't see you, but they saw me. And then foster care stepped in, and my caseworker came and talked to me. Have you been seeing her? And I was like, yeah. She has to come through the court to see you. And my thought, I was like, she's never going to come through the court to see me. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to make sure I see her. And I think they knew that, and I think the Borelli's family knew it, and they very well was just like, you could take this kid because it's just going to be a hassle. Because my brother came to that house after the 2nd or 3rd time, right before I got caught, and he dropped me off, and he threatened that boy. I mean,
The one that was fucking with you?
I never saw Weddle get white the way he got white.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother was not a punk. Like, he was a solid, straight, dark Puerto Rican. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knocked on the door to drop me off, and he told me, let me tell you something. If my brother ever comes, say, put your hands, I'm going to come beat you down so bad. I promise you. I know where you live now. I'm going to come beat you. I remember this. This was happening right on the front porch. And
Wow.
right on the front porch. But the parents weren't there. It was just, I guess I got lucky. The parents weren't there. It was just him, and he opened the door, but his whole face turned flush red. Like, that he was just, he's like, I'm going to beat you. You put your hands on my brother one more time, and I'm going to smash you.
And dude just freaked out.
Yeah, he didn't touch me then.
Yeah.
It was done. He didn't touch me. But I was only there a couple weeks after that. But
Yeah.
those Sundays were probably the most peaceful Sundays. At 7.5, I was like, oh, this is what it feels like. All right.
Strolling into the kitchen. What's up, bitch?
I was like, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, I want some biscuits. I want some boy.
He's walking in with his fucking calzones and shit.
Yeah, that boy didn't touch that doorway. He was like, he was boy.
There you go, sir. There you go.
I was with my G.I. Joe, like, yeah, nigga, I'm going to eat. You know what I'm
You
saying?
want some Twinkies? They're in the top. Let me hook you up.
It was crazy, yeah. But he left me alone after that. They sent me, and then I went back to the home again for that one. Then after I went to the home, I went to my foster care. My foster father, who I consider very much like my father, my mother. Just really good people, kind people going through their own struggle. But, they had me. They had a daughter named Michelle. They grabbed my foster brother, Colonel. So in that house, it was really crazy because you see one Puerto Rican, one brother, and one white girl. Everybody's like, who's lying in that household? Who's lying? And nobody looked the same. I was like, this is my brother. Yeah, okay. My sister, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that was probably the best place I had been. I was his first foster son, and my foster father, man, treated me like you just knew. The first day I met him.
So when you got out of the foster care system at 11, 12 years old, was it that family that you that you ended up with?
Yeah, so they took me away because of an incident that happened, which really was kind of my fault.
Okay.
It was kind of me and my foster brothers, Colonel. We had brought some girl in. We had some entanglement with a girl.
Entanglement, huh? The very first entanglement.
The very first
entanglement.
Yeah, it was fun too. Let me tell you that. But it was me and him and just her. So I think it just got kind of a little wild. And the parents, their mother found out she was over there, and she was really racist at the point. So it got to, my foster father, man, God, I feel so horrible. Nobody was even home. It was me and we came from school early. And I remember the girl, she was from my class. And she had always wanted to, kind of mess around. So, But my older foster brother, he's like two grades up. We never mind. So
I just picture that scene from what is it? Don't Be a Menace. Like, if anybody's gonna be fucking, it's gonna be me.
You bring any of them hoes up in here. Make sure I fuck them first.
Hey, Colonel was a nut, bro. He was skinny, skinny negro, bro. He was a little crazy. I love him, bro. He was a little cray-cray. But we had a good time, I thought we did.
Everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
Except your dad.
Yes.
Which pissed him off.
Pissed him off, got into an argument, and then she called the cops saying that that my foster father was involved. That's what the mother went and just kind of extended a bunch of lies.
Oh, the mother of the girl.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So she literally had stated, so they called the cops and then literally had stated that, he was involved. And I was like, what? Like, he wasn't even there. So we went through the process with the cops. They pulled us each to the side. We stood at the precinct for hours. All charges weren't even, it was silly. They had too many holes and too many gaps in their stories. They pulled me to the side alone. They pulled Colonel to the side alone. We both told them what happened. Look, me and him were having fun, I think I was in like 5th grade at this point, not even 6th grade.
Damn, really? Damn, bro.
Yeah,
What was happening in 5th grade, man?
I'm telling you, well, hey, I was,
I was still watching the Scrambled channel on TV trying to get a boob in there, man.
Me too, bro. Me too.
I was beyond TV at that age. TV wasn't enough for me. PG didn't do it. I was like, no.
I was hearing the random noises. I'm like, was that what I think it was?
Watching the squiggly lines and shit, trying to picture what it is. Like,
welcome to the Spice Channel. I'm like, oh shit, son, they said Spice.
Fucking music plays and shit.
Don't say anything. You're gonna ruin the static. I think I just heard clapping.
Hell yeah. Oh no. Hey, listen, I literally cannot send this link to my daughter. Baby, I'm sorry I can't send this to you. I'm sorry, my love.
Hey, we got to do a shout out, right? We forgot to do a shout out.
Yes.
Even though we can't show her
But you got to follow my daughter. She's a princess. She's a sweetheart, man.
Shout out to Brooke.
Yeah, shout out to Brooke, man. My daughter,
BROO.K.
.K for you. Yeah.
Too good.
Too good. Who is enjoying Chick-fil-A right now.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A right now.
Thanks to her dad.
Pocket. Yeah,
Thanks to her dad.
Again, let me just make sure that's brew.k. Too good. Make sure to hit her up. She's a sweetheart. She's funny. But go ahead. Yeah. So
we were doing well up until that last story. This was going to be brew approved.
Well, it's a journey getting where I got. So I hope you guys don't judge right away. Like all you guys judge out there, but it's definitely like I've had some. I think I've always been kind of in a mature place.
Trust me, bro.
A little too further than I should have been.
This is the least judgmental place you'll be in.
Oh,
bro.
Here I'm good. I'm just worried about people like, God, he's working with kids. Yeah, that's good.
This is called ghetto therapy for a reason, brother.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, but it got dropped, but just the fact that it got filed, they took me back. So I went back to the home, and then finally they said, you know what? This is like now right about 11. I want to say, because that little fight was happening and they didn't know what they were going to do. Mind you, I think I got into probably the best mental space at that point.
Because I'm sure at that time you thought, I finally found my family.
Yo, 100%.
Because you were there how long already at that point?
So I had been there like a couple of years.
So you were like, this is my family now.
Yeah, so I've been there a couple of years. This is my family, like 2 years, I think.
Okay.
And those 2 years, though, what's crazy is the advancement. Like, I went from like a white belt to a black belt. I went from wanting to hang out and a kid in the parks. Like, I stood in the dojo all night long with my stepfather. Like, He was just that guy with me. He never hesitated to spend a lot of time with me.
Yeah.
And he was so street, but at the same time about like, at that time, he was just really about like what's right, how you look at things, perception. Like he really taught me how to look at things. It's kind of like, this is hood. Is this what you want to do? Is this how you want to look at it?
Right.
Make sure to never, never take anything for granted. Never take somebody for granted. Never underestimate somebody. Like he was constantly in my head, like, watch how people respond. So I got really social with that. Like he's about as short as Enrique, by the way. He's about as short as Enrique, right? And he had that same personality, and he walked like George Jefferson. So you got to see that big ass pimp, and he's like, and he walked fast like he was from New York. And I'm like, yo, so I'm right behind him, and I'm like, yo, slow down. His wife, my mother, Christine, she was always like, well, Jim, slow down. Why you walking so fast? Like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Wheezy, shut up, Wheezy, shut up. You know what I'm saying? But I spent hours and days in that gym.
Is he still alive to this day?
He's still alive to this very day.
Have you? Do you still have contact with him?
So I have. I've had contact with him, not as much as I would like. Again, I think he's a little crazy. I think that comes with age. That's why I said I cannot wait to get old and senile like him. Just no fucks given. But I made sure I reached out. I took my stepdaughter on a I called it an East Coast world tour a couple years when I was with my ex-wife and we were having bad moments. So I took her daughter, my stepdaughter. We went through all of Philly. We went up to New York. We visited all my family all the way up to Boston. But we stopped there and we spent the day out there with them, and she got to meet them. And I was told originally that he was dead from this fling.
Yeah.
That was just like super in love with me. And she went ahead and looked out for it. And she said, yeah, I did the research, the name, this, that, he's dead. I cried so hard in her house for days. I was like, I didn't get to say thank you. I didn't get to tell him what he meant to me, how he raised me, because even in all my imperfections, I at least understood the mannerisms of a gentleman to an extent, right? To like one of those old school pimp playing, because he was a pimp for sure, but at least he understood certain things. And sure enough, man, turns out she was wrong. And I was like, man, I called. I was like, you got me crying. I was crying for days.
Bitch, you owe me those tears.
And then when I found out, I found out because I reached Colonel on Facebook, Facebook being such a beautiful thing. Me and Colonel bumped heads, and I was like, man, I heard about Jim. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I heard he passed. And man, I saw Jim like last month. I was like, what? Heart was just jumping through. I was like, yes. And at that time, I was like, yeah, I got to go say something. I thank you. So we exchanged. He connected me with my stepsister, and then my stepsister came down, brought her son to my house, met my wife at the time. Then I went and saw them, and it was a beautiful thing, man. It was a beautiful thing. So it was something that I'm glad, because you never know if you're going to get that moment to thank somebody for such a big movement, right? At the time, I never had anybody to look up to. So he was probably, besides my brother, I think he was, my Uncle Oz, I think he was the first person that I was from out of a circle of my family that I looked up to and said, damn, this is the guy that I'll follow. I respect, I love him. So it happened at a young age, but took such good care of me, man. Like he focused on me. He got my mind straight. I stopped fighting a lot for that little period of time. And I knew that was because of his structure. Like I was winning tournaments left to right, man. I was going everywhere. Yeah. And it was a good time right there.
So when was it when where was it when you landed on your final home, so to speak?
So right about 11, they gave me back to my mom. Right about 11.
So you went back to your mom.
Right, so they held me in there. I was in the home for a while. Do a lot of fighting in the homes, man. You different kids in and out. Yeah. So did a lot of fighting there, but met some really good people as well.
But you had this karate shit, so you were winning those fights.
I was ready to go, boy. we were doing things at that point. Before it was rough, but I was like, man, I get a couple of, but man, after that, I was just ready to go. The funny thing is I didn't want to fight as much at that point. It was something that was bestowed to me, don't fight, you don't need to. And it really did stick with me. Mm-hmm. But no, we let these things loose, man. We gonna get some of this, boy. But
these kids are all waiting for like little hugs, little like squeezes or something, and this guy's like, coming at her with some kung fu and shit. Like, who the hell is this kid?
And I still got that PTSD, so I'm like, get my sandwich, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Where's Mike at now? Mike, where are you, bro? No, you know what I mean? I'm looking
You
for
sure
that.
this guy's Puerto Rican?
I'm looking for that Wedo now. Where's he at? Where's he at, boy? I got, shit.
It's Sunday afternoon, dog. What up?
I want my PBJ now.
I want my motherfucking cookies, motherfuckers.
So then you get. So then you go back with your moms.
Yeah.
I mean, how is it, or what are you thinking at first? What's your initial reaction? Because you're back with your moms, but you've been away from her for 6 years, 5-6 years. You know, you're finally back with her. But do you have that sense of comfort, or are you still like
More to add on to Danny's question? That do you have that sense of home, of belonging at that point in time?
Yeah, no, I did not. You're absolutely right. I think you would ask me at that time, I would have chose to stay with Jim and Christine. I was hands down chose to stay. I would have missed my brother. I've always loved my brother. We've always been tight, close.
Yeah.
So when I got back, it was awkward, but my brother made me feel back at home. So it was my brother, not my mom necessarily. Then maybe, and it was kind of weird because I had a good home. For a minute. Like we lived when I lived with Jim and Christine, we had a big ass house. Like I had this big ass bed. It was no need to be that big, but I had one. I had a back balcony porch that stretched out real long. Had a yawning. The bed. I mean, when it rained, it put me to sleep. I loved it. Then I got back with my mom. We in a crib where the windows are cracked because of the cold and the heat ain't working. And I'm like, yo, we got 5 cats for no reason. I'm like, why we got 5 cats for? Like, I'm trying. He's eating my white rice and shit. Why is he eating my white rice? I'm like, yo, come on, man. Look, I'm gonna start eating his cat food. Like, you need to get off it. But we were, it was back to the hood. And I think it didn't take me too long to just get that ghetto-ness back in me. Like I said, my brother has always been loving, but he's always been street too. He's just a hood guy. He knew, at that point before he learned his own, fought his own demons. But yeah, man, then I'm back, I think 12 years old with my brother. Had a Schlitz bull. I don't know if you guys know about the Schlitz. It was a malt liquor. It was a malt beer, Schlitz. They had the Red Bull and the Blue Bull. And
really?
yeah, it was the first time I drank malt. I was 12 years old.
One of the oldest beers in the country.
Yes,
man.
indeed. Well, get a Schlitz.
Get a Schlitz, huh? Okay.
Yo, I drank that shit. I was off the wall, bro. So it's all the beep, 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 beep. Jump. My brother was like, I'm never going to again give you that shit. And I was like,
It said Schlitz bull. I thought it was a dog or something. Bro.
Nah. It's called the bull, man. That's how the bull get the horns. Every time my brother say, boy, I drink enough of this, man, I give people the horns. He goes out, he likes to fight. He would go out to fight. I'm like, yo, I was at home like playing duck hunt, but drunk, like
shooting at the dog instead.
The cats, all the cats and shit.
Shut up. Yeah, like cats. Get your ass out of here. Yeah.
So then you're back with your mom. Like, how's your relationship with your mom to this today?
Oh man, today. So my mom lives in Bolingbrook right now, or Romeoville. Yeah, one of those little places up there. It's rough, It's good. I'm at an age where I think the one thing I do understand, it's really hard to judge anybody's reactions to life. Life punches us in the mouth so many ways. And I can't pretend to understand what it's like to be a woman in this world, And I've learned as I've gone through cultures, as you were saying, is I learned to be around so many people because the way people handle things are different, and it's their right to handle it that way. Not everybody has a tough mindset. Not everybody has a will to handle one smack. And like, I'm going to stand for this. Some people truly break, and when they're broken, if there's nobody there trying to fix it, if there's nobody there assisting, if there's nobody there trying to help or trying to give assistance, they're going to stay like that, and they're going to stay in the toxic cycle. And I think we all experience a lot of that in my time. But my mom is no different. She a lot of abusive relationships since even before we were born, from her parents, and then handed down to her, and then my dad put his hands on her, and my brother's dad, who my brother was the oldest. It's just, and it's continuous. And I think at some point she just broke. To this very day, my mom says I never wanted to be a mom. And she tells me every once in a while still, like, my mom is probably the most blunt person in the world I've ever met. Like, you can't harm me no way because of her. So I at least understood that whatever I have in me that's capable of getting through the things that I've gotten through has been specifically because of this little 4'11", 5'2" woman. But she's about as tough as they come. And to this very day, she, we had to talk about her burning me with the iron. And, you know, she, at one time, I mean, she's retracted this statement, but at one time she told me, you needed it. I was like, yo, I was fucking like 5 years old. Mm-hmm. But she said it, you needed it.
But she told you this as an adult?
As an adult. She was grown. Yeah, we had this talk. She was real drunk. And she let me know. She like, you needed it, because if you didn't, you were headed somewhere you don't want to be. Mm. I didn't understand that statement, but now I do. And I don't agree to the degree of the punishment, because I had stole some money out her purse. Like, I've always been a little rugged as a kid. Like, I wasn't lying, but not to that degree. When I look at my kid, I can never see harm done to my kid. I'll go crazy if anything ever happens to my daughter, my son in that manner. Yeah. But the realization of how her mindset and how she perceives things really did hit me at that moment, when she was like, oh, you deserved it. Because if you didn't get that, you wouldn't be where you are right now. So you were headed in the direction. You were 5 years old running the streets. I couldn't stop you. You were stealing. You were doing everything you shouldn't have done.
Now at that point, when she's saying that, are you like, you got a point and I'm cool? Or are you like, yeah, you're right, but then, obviously, still angry, still.
So we were angry. I was heated at that moment. I told her, honestly, like, what the fuck is that to tell your kid?
Yeah. At the end, every kid wants to be accepted.
Yeah, 100%.
And the after effect of you growing up the way you did away from her, which ended up being a positive, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think it was her choice to make like that. Like, I don't think that's a choice that needed to be made, because at the end of the day, every child is always going to be better with their parents.
Agreed, 100%.
But your story ends up being where, you were taken away, but in a better light. Obviously, you grew up, hopefully, for the better, but you still missed out on those pivotal years being with your family as a young man.
Well, especially like for what gets taken away from a Latino, you're taken out of a Latino culture. The first and most obvious is Spanish speaking, especially for Puerto Rican. I'm a New York Rican, and I'll hear a lot of Boricuas tell me I'm not Puerto Rican, because I don't speak Spanish too much. Not a lot of it. So I've dealt with that anxiety of being like un gringo and this, you ain't Boricua, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what to tell you. I'm about as Puerto Rican as I can be in my heart. Like, I bleed that, in and out. But it was rough as a childhood in that, because then everything I ever knew in the family sense was, black and Güero, African American and Güero. So I lived in those fabrics, and I got really close to just being with Morenos and Morenas. They were my thing, we were, dancing. I know how to step. I know how to everything. I love the food.
I bet you he knows how to twerk, bro.
Bro, I could twerk. I could twerk. I could do it all, man. My mom loved to date African American men. It was her thing. So we were never very far from it in that sense. When I got back to her, when they gave me back to her, we moved to San Diego because she got married to Jerome. Again, he was like 23. He was a baby himself. I'm 12 years old. I'm already half his age, so it was kind of interesting. But my mom was always really good on the eyes. She was a very beautiful woman. We moved out there and shit just went crazy. My brother had to do a little bit of time at Glen Mills. It's an option for kids who are going to go to jail. He was 17. Instead of going to jail, he got to go there, play football, lacrosse, do a bunch of stuff, but he was locked up there. So we didn't get to see him. So my mom had full, and we moved to Cali, man. And there it was, all of 12 years old, just barely 12. And
so your brother did the time in Cali or back home?
Back home.
So you guys left, and he stayed back there.
Yeah.
Wow.
He stayed back there. So it's all, again, new territory. Every time I'm adjusting, it's always something new, and that's kind of what life has taught me.
So now, fast forward to when you have your first child.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, the first time you see your child, you're like, I'm gonna make sure this child doesn't feel what I felt.
Oh yeah,
when I was a kid.
Well, you heard my princess one.
Yeah.
You heard it. I spoil her probably too much.
Yeah.
Because I do believe in that. Hard times create strong men.
Yeah.
And easy times create weak men. I think all of us as parents, I hope we try to find that balance. to where we give them a little hardship so they're ready for what the world gives them, because it's not going to be fucking, peaches and ice cream. But when I first saw my daughter, I cried like a baby. Like, whew, I was so scared. This is the person I got to think of more than me now. This is something that I could see anything in this world happen to me, and I really can. I could care less. But when I saw my daughter, I was like, yeah, this is where I've become the most vulnerable in my whole entire life. And I've been alone on streets with grown savage men at 12, 13 years old. And I still was more scared the moment I held my daughter. Mm-hmm. So that goes to understanding. And I promised myself I'd never leave her side. It is one of the main reasons why I stood with my ex-wife for so long, as we did. Mm-hmm. It was about being there with her. I couldn't have it no other way.
Yeah. There's always that term, and I always love this whenever I read any stories about people that come from, almost the childhoods that you had, where they talk about breaking the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you take that into consideration now that you have your own child?
I think it's probably like my biggest drive right now. It's one of the biggest drives is to break the cycle. I think I've broken, let me just say before I even say my statement is that even as bad as my relationship with my ex-wife, I still give her props for handling our kids the way she does. Because again, I don't know what it's like to be a woman. And she's had her own past. So as much as I got to say I hate her.
Let me just throw that in there.
Just want to make sure everyone knows this for the record.
As much as I think she's from the fruits and the loins of the devil, I do respect what she has done for my kids. So with that being said, I feel like we've broken, both me and her as parents have broken some of the cycles. I know we've created our own little ones. I think that's inevitable. Mm-hmm. But I think we've broken some cycles. Like, they're in a really well house right now, with their mom. And when I get them on my weekends, my apartment is big. It's in the hood. I love humble. I'm still that guy. I love that. But we teach two different styles of living. Mm-hmm. And I know we don't agree with each other all the time. But that's okay, because I always tell her, like, my experience is different. So I've learned different. I am more about people than I am anything else in this world. And I've realized that. And that doesn't fit well all the time. Like, sometimes when I do something out of good gesture, people think there's something coming after it. Like, no, what? There's no expectation. I literally just did it because I wanted to. Whether it's hook somebody up with money, hook somebody up with a job, get somebody something free, walk around, pick you up, drop you off for no random reason. It's only because I just want to do that. There's something. There's a power in giving. There is literally a power in giving, and when you learn to have that, when you learn to be vulnerable enough to give. I think it's when you're vulnerable enough to receive those blessings God get, right? Because you don't receive those blessings without... God's going to make you work for it, no matter what anybody thinks, I'm not a fan of everybody saying, I'll just sit here, God will take care of it. Oh, no, he won't.
Right.
No, he won't. You better believe if his only begotten son, quoting the Bible, if he put him to work, what you think he want you to do? Hell, you special. Like, girl, you better get on up and get, so... I think we definitely killed some cycles. Yeah. But I feel good about that and where we're headed in the future.
No, I could see that about you, man, because I still remember a couple years ago on my birthday, you call me as late at night, hey, man, I just want to call and wish you happy birthday. I'm like, thanks, man, I appreciate that, and then you're like, if you're free the next couple of days, man, I just want to, take you out, take you to lunch, let's go out for some food and a beer, man, for your birthday.
You weren't like naked next to your wife like Pooties did? On your birthday and shit.
Right, I might have been. I might have been
with the buttery deep out.
I might have, Nepal out. Yeah, I might have been
Nepal.
But no, but the fact that man, when we did that, man, a few days later, we met up and we went out for lunch and we had a drink, for my birthday, and I was like, man, that's fucking cool, man. I didn't have family even do that shit for me. I'm like, holy shit, But that shows
you got heat with the family, remember?
Yeah, my heat goes back and forth, bro. 1 week it's on, 1 week it's off, bro.
Hey, you know what? Sucks that the heat lands on your birthday.
Yeah. Fuck.
Well, we got heat right now. And I know it's your birthday, but sorry, we can't hang.
Somehow I don't know why he always lands on my birthday.
Christmas, birthday.
Breaking up, he get nothing.
Sorry, man. We had issues during Christmas, so. but I saved a lot of money.
Yes, indeed.
Right?
Yes, indeed. I still got beer left over. You know what I mean? Like,
But no, man, shows what a stand-up dude you are, bro. You know, like it's not,
Thank
you know, it's not fake. You know, genuine.
no, it can't be. I think put away all the illusions that this life has set up for us. Put away the narrative that is being put out there. One rule, man, you know, just people. People are the best investment in this world, man. There's not a better investment than investment in another human being. Family, friend, stranger. We're all we got at the end of the day, right? And if we believe in ripple effects, then every time I touch somebody, no pun intended, but every time I touch somebody, you know, it's legit, man. I feel a good thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, fast forward now, you got your, now you start working in the works of opening up your own gym.
Yeah.
Where does that brainchild start?
So I was when I left when me and my ex-wife split up, I was really, really in my own head, in my heart, in my space. Here I am, no longer living next to my daughter, which was the one promise, and my son Aiden. I felt really lost. You know, I was making decent money. I lived in a car for the first 2 weeks. I slept at the export in Skokie.
Okay.
And I felt like I fucking failed.
Okay. So that was the moment where you're like, I need to do something.
Yeah, that was 100%. I felt like I fucking failed. But I went for a year like that. You know, my ex-wife kept playing with the idea of me coming back. Like, why don't you come back? And it was just a cycle that we kept doing. My daughter cried her ass off when I left, when my stepkids were walking my bags of clothes out. And I knew I was going to come back because I never wanted to put her through that. I don't care what my selfish thoughts were I did never want my daughter to see that again. So I never went back. You know, I grew a little bit. I met a really nice girl. I fell in love, but, you know, again, she was 23. So that was not going to work. But for some reason, I thought it was. But I will say I learned something from that young girl, and it was communication. I think she brought me back to land an idea that you could love with communication. And obviously for her, it was young love. So it wasn't going to last. And, you know, for me, I'm all in. I'm like, I'm 40-something. Let's go. You know, but I learned a lot with that. So when COVID came, she had broke up with me, and she had flew to Arizona with her mom. And again, I'll tell you what I felt like. Even at that age, I was like, why ain't I good enough? What the fuck do I gotta be? Who do I gotta be? Even more important, who do I gotta be? Who do I have to be to satisfy the idea of what I want to create this life in? What does my life want to be? And I started asking myself those questions. And I feel like there's not enough people that ask themselves them questions. Listen, if you're going to get hit with something you don't enjoy in life, why don't you enjoy it? You need to ask yourself questions. What's going on? Why? You don't get to point the finger.
Yeah.
This is all on you. So when she left, I did some traveling. I went to visit her once. Or twice, Arizona, Colorado. But then I went to Minnesota, and I started doing these nature trips. And I started working out more than I was like, that's it. I'm going ham. Because in my head, I couldn't stop thinking. What am I not doing? Who am I not? Why am I never good enough? I can't keep my kids in my life. I can't keep my mom wouldn't stay in my life. And to be honest, it goes that far back where every girl in my life I was at a point like, why can't I, what am I doing so wrong? What am I not understanding? I've lived a life of pretty much service and appeasing people for most of my life. But at that moment, I said, you know, no more. Got up in the mirror, told myself, what the fuck's your problem? You're going to do something different. So I started working out. But the workouts just got so intense, and it was so much pain. I spent nights crying. I spent nights by myself. My roommate, God bless his soul for just being my back, you know. He rolling big blunts like, here, bro, don't worry, we good. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I worked out, and then it went from 2 days 2 times a day to 3 times a day. And then I'm trying to do things that I never did in my life when I'm working out. I'm doing Superman push-ups. I'm flying in the air and never was able to do that. I'm doing plyometric pull-ups, pulling off the air, clapping hands. I'm damn near Superman down to 196 pounds. And I got 36 clients. And what I started to notice is that as I started to heal, that reflection was happening to my clients, and my clients weren't in love with themselves. They were having problems as well. And you don't get that until you have them long enough in a session, 5 months in a session, 3 months, where the truth of who they are is coming out.
So you related to them on a personal level?
All day.
Yeah.
All day. You know, a lot of people ask me, you know, what makes your gym so special? What you know, what's the difference of your gym? It's not you. You're the difference. You walk into my gym, you're the one that brings an energy. You're the one that brings a presence. You're the one that brings a vibe. I have who I am. Mm-hmm. But you fitness is you for a reason. It's the year of you. What's going on with you? What's happening with you? What's going on in your head? And in relation, I can't tell you, almost every single client I've ever had, we have had just breakdown sessions where we wouldn't even lift the weight. They're just crying on my shoulder. They're sitting talking to me. Just charge the session. They needed that a little bit more than they needed to steal. Like, I love to steal.
You're the real ghetto therapy, bro.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yes, therapist right here.
Yes.
Therapist slash gym trainer over here.
And
bro.
you got to go through some shit to be able to see other people's shit. I'll be honest, man. Like, I'm not, you know, I feel that way. I won't give somebody advice that I don't think comes true to tune for me. Like, I didn't read out a book. I fucking felt it.
Yeah.
100%. Everything I talk about is because I felt it.
Yeah.
You know, I felt alone. I know what it's like. Till I feel good enough. I know what it's like. No matter how hard you push, no matter what you got, no matter how you look, you're still always going to question yourself. But I think that's God's given gift to tell yourself, not that way, but to understand that we're not designed to be satisfied to an extent. When you start to pay forward, that should never stop. Paying forward and assisting people and watching people in trouble and being able to give them something, that smile, whatever comes out of it, you know, to me, that's the greatest gift. You'll never get too old for that, right? How many rich people can you say to this very day die and all of them say the same shit? Wish I had a little bit more time to speak to somebody I love. Yeah. Wish I had a little bit. Wish I did a little more.
It's one thing you can't buy with your money is time.
No, you can't.
No.
Money's an illusion. Everything, that shit to me is an illusion. I've never been a money-hungry person, and I think that's why my business is satisfying right now. It's working because listen, in COVID, I was training people for $20. Mm-hmm. Okay? $20 a session. You hear that? After COVID, while people were charging $75, I was still going $30, $40. I was like, how you doing? How's your income going? How's your house going? How many kids you got? You really want to know somebody? Talk to them. Ask them questions. See what happens. I based my rate off of that. Well, what's your rate? Tell me, how are you doing? I don't even talk about money when we're sitting down talking about you coming to You Fitness. What are you talking about? I won't talk about money. What's going on? Is this something that you just want physical, or is there something going on in your head or your mind? Even in the interview process and in that assessment process, I had people cry. Don't even know me. The conversation happens real deep. You can feel the energy out of people. There's nothing better than that. Mm-hmm. Right now, I just started marketing. I'm 99.9% referral based. 50 clients across the board. Had 72 the first year I opened up. I did that all by myself in the sense of training. Trained 72 clients. I trained all the classes, had bags under my eyes. I lived off of coffee and C4s and Red Bulls. But I had never been happier, and to the extent of where I was putting my energy and where I was putting my time. And then that just even gets better when I work the youth. You know, when I was in San Diego, and I did a year homeless in San Diego at 12. That was when I learned appreciation. That was where I learned that you could have fun without $1 in your pocket, and sometimes without a meal in front of me. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of good moments when I was homeless. Crazy to say, moments that I laughed. And I hung out with Cambodians, right? Thai, Arabic, Italians, and African American. Still had a problem with Latinos. I don't know what they didn't like about me, bro. Traitor, La Raza. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Can you say that in English for me, sir? I'm sorry.
No Nintendo.
Oh yeah, no Nintendo, bro. I lived. My mom and me. We lived on. Before I went homeless, we lived on 28th Street, 28th and Broadway, Lomas, 26th Street, Lomas boys. Them boys were. Whew, they used to sit out there and just take sticks of Wiki and the liquid and just sit out there with knives, and the racial war was bad in California in the 80s. Mm-hmm. It was bad. So I just happened to be all around one of those. So every time I hung out, they would call me trader, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm trading. I don't know who am I trading. I'm just living, and
just want to hang out, guys. Fuck,
Jesus, I'm living on the street, and I'm still getting called a trader. I was like, look, house me then. Tell your mom to take me. Let me eat some of them tortillas with you, and then we'll talk. You know what I mean?
I could use a house right now, guys.
Give me some frijoles. Damn it, shit. You talking?
I will wave your flag after
and I will wave that. It's true, proud style, proud. You know, but being homeless and sitting around, that was probably the most international for me. Cambodians, Arabics, and some of us homeless, some of us not. But for the homeless nature, we'd have nights where we were all sleeping, by a bridge or on benches, and just moments of laughter, just innocent conversation. And I found myself at that age where it didn't bother me that I didn't know what I was going to eat. And it didn't bother me that I didn't have $1. What bothered me is when I was alone and was trying to figure out why was I alone.
Yeah.
What did I do to be here alone? In a whole state that I had no family, I didn't know nobody. My mom just kind of took off. That used to hurt me when I used to watch people walk with their kids and like
That's all you wanted, man.
what I do. What and I think that was the most hurtful. And I think at that moment, even as a young age, I kind of knew like I wanted to be wanted. I wanted to be understood.
I know what you mean because my parents divorced when I was 7, and it's funny because it's like I'll tell my wife to this day, you could ask me like what I did yesterday or last week, I don't remember, but ask me shit about my childhood and watching my parents divorce and the fight. I remember every little thing.
Yeah.
Picture to picture, I remember everything.
Yeah. 100%.
And that shit sticks with you, and you don't realize how much it traumatizes a kid. That's why like when we had our daughters, that was the one thing, I told my wife, I'm going to make sure they don't feel what I felt as a kid.
100%.
Because that shit does a lot of damage to you mentally.
It does.
And people think like, oh, they're kids and I don't understand. No, they know. As a kid, you know what you're seeing, and that shit sticks with you.
Yeah.
And you may not say nothing, like me, I held it in. I held it in, and yeah, bro. I mean, I think that shit came out. I think like my feelings came out one night when I was already an adult and I was drunk to my mom and told her like how I, like you don't know what I felt, you don't know what I saw, this is what I felt, this is what I saw, I remember this, like picture to picture, I remember this, and that, so it's like, I always told myself, you don't, like, I don't want to, I want to make sure my daughters don't feel that, they don't see it, they don't feel it, and that's why me and my wife try very hard just to make our house very happy home. Everything's a happy, happy home. We work hard, man. Like, we lucky to say we have a very happy marriage, and we both work hard at it. And
I love your family dynamic. I mean,
no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, like when I met him and his wife, you could just see good things.
Yeah,
in the kids.
But no, yeah, that just sticks with you, man. So I can't even imagine. So like with because I see what your class is. Like I see like you do like free weekends with the youth.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's like a part of your way, like saying like, like the way you felt as a kid, like you had no one or you were just out on the streets, like is this your way of like keeping the youth like out of the streets and showing that they got a place, to use their energy and stay out of trouble and just
I would say it's life building into years, certain incidents, homeless as a kid, foster care as a kid, growing up gangbanging as a kid, all of those kind of make up this big pot of the way I feel. It's interesting because I didn't think about it till you just said it. Where is this where you learned you want to keep kids out the street? Actually, I don't want to keep them out the street. I want them in the street, but I just want them to know how to run the street. Mm-hmm. It's our job to run those streets. There are community, there are buildings, there are blocks, right? T.D. Jakes said once that our forefathers and our people were once the only voice we had were on corners with signs and protest. And we got beat and locked up and we got treated a certain way. We're now looking at the highest growing, fastest rate of entrepreneurs is Latinos. Mexicans being one of the predominant ones, to be honest. Nobody's growing faster as an entrepreneur than a Latino in the United States of America. Latinos going to be the majority. Well, why are we not trying to run the streets? But I want to show them the way that I think we've changed the dynamic, because instead of just being in the corner, instead of just being protesting and signs, now we got leaders. We got people that are in corporate buildings, corporate rooms. We got people in positive positions that can make changes. And I think it's us that needs to make sure that we can teach the youth how to be better than the ones that are currently in office, because to me, half of them suck. That's horrible to say, but I feel that way because what's the saying, like, you can join them, but you can't beat them, right? Yeah. It's kind of like you're going to be influenced. Well, when does that change? Mm-hmm. And I think that has to be taught at a young age. There's power in the youth. They have a saying that a young person who hangs out with an older crowd is ahead of the game in their space. And that an older elder that hangs out within a young crowd is ahead of the game in their space. And that's never been more true. When you think of technological standards, when you think of old people not understanding how to keep up, young people need to understand what's coming in the future. I think it's the biggest interlock we need to accomplish as kids, and understanding and showing them. I remember anger times. I remember when I thought I said everything that was right, and realizing now that I reflect, man, I was wrong about a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. They just need to know that somebody knows what they're feeling, experiences, and at some point, a lot of us forget that we were that age. A lot of us forget that we felt that way, that we seen it that way, that we looked that way. How many times have I heard adults speak to a kid like, "How you stupid?" No, they're not. Don't act like you weren't there, homie. Take your time. Listen to what they're saying and adjust. What would you have did at your time frame? So I take a lot of what I reflect off of. I've been blessed. I would say I'm actually happy my mom did what she did to me. And that was when I had to accept that statement to myself. I was like, wow. But it's true. I 100% enjoy who I am at this point. I don't give anybody anything less than 100% of me unless they got something coming from me in a bad way. But that's me protecting myself. And I don't need to protect me. I protect my family before me. Your flex is strong when you look at your family. That's how I saw it. You know what I mean? When I met your wife, kids, Flex was strong at that moment. This is a good dude. Look at how he provides, protects, stands. He treats them with courtesy, how he speaks. You know what I mean? For me, that's your biggest flex in this world. Again, had nothing to do with a dollar, did it? Had everything to do in the mannerisms of how you treat people when you live in. You can tell a lot by how somebody reacts or responds to anything, aggression, or to peace, to whatever it is. It's up to us to accept it the right way and be accountable to those decisions we make. And I think when when this came out, was me starting to take accountability for everything that ever happened. Because if I stood in a position long enough to allow somebody to hurt me and continue, that's my fault at that moment, at any given moment. And I've been through a lot of that. So when it changed, I started changing, my body started changing, process started changing. I leveled up. Like, I think you've seen my girlfriend, right? Yeah, she's pretty smoking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I like how you said I leveled up.
That was a level up, homie.
You wanted to make sure you put it out
That
there.
was a level up.
So you see my girl? Yeah,
by the way, she's Boricua. And yes, I can say that because she's from the island.
I was going to say, she's giving you street cred, huh?
She's from the island. Yes, she is.
They're like, he's kind of Puerto Rican, I guess.
We just came back from Puerto Rico, right? When I get out there with her, bro, I just, I'm flexing. You know what I mean? She's out there like, I'm like, yeah. What my baby said, homie. Yeah, she said, homie.
You're doing that George Jefferson walk.
Yep. Keep your eyes up here, homie. Up here.
That's all I know. That's all I know.
No, she's phenomenal, man. I'm having a blessed time, man.
She helps you. She helps you with the gym, right?
She helps me with the gym. She's phenomenal. She's got the world's biggest smile, the biggest heart. Puerto Rican woman. She gets in my ass almost every other day. I do something wrong. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But her heart's as big as everything else, so I love it. She's fully intentional of everything she does, and I love that. But I'm living probably my best life right now at this age, not because I have money, because I really don't, but who I'm tapping into, what I'm tapping into, what's happening, what I watched. So I do violence prevention now.
Violence prevention?
Yeah, so I do violence prevention, and for Miguel de Valle, which that's a work in process, but nonprofit
about
portion.
That. Yeah,
So essentially, it's a community center that's under a charter school.
Okay.
That's represented, but it's not necessarily the charter school, so it's attached because it's a nonprofit. And it's Miguel de Valle, and it was by Miss Pantoja. It was where it started. The dream, Boricua, strong woman. And what they do is they help with services. So they provide work services for kids. They provide after-school programs for kids. They're keeping in touch with mentorship programs, violence prevention programs. So here we got this whole group of wonderful people who every day their hustle is figuring out how can we offer another resource, how can we make sure we don't lose a resource, and it's all about these kids. I've watched some of my staff cry for these kids. I've watched some pride. This past year that went, I had a total of 12 seniors in my program with the violence prevention and youth fitness after school program with a football team. Their first year playing football for the most of them, which was pretty weird. Like 12th grade, the first year, but they were just great kids. They were given to me because they were at high risk for, I hate when they call them high risk. They're not high risk. You just got to find out what's going on. High risk environment, but out of the 12, dig this, out of the 12, 9 college.
Nice.
2 of them full ride scholarships to Elmhurst playing football. Full rides, mind you.
Wow.
GPAs at 3.8, 4.0, full ride. And then we managed to get 6 or 7 of them, 7 of them, to play football at the same school out in Minnesota.
No shit.
No, as a group of kids together. One of them had a GPA of 1.8. I'm not lying. And this is...
I can already imagine their coach seeing them walk in like, puta madre. Who sent me the high-risk kids?
And they're out there in Minnesota way by like, the boondocks. So they're countrified out there. They're walking in like, look at these city boys. What's going on? It's freaking hilarious. But one of them in particular, Eli, much love to him, man. I feel like he's like my son. He had like a 1.8 like in January, and I kept getting in his ass like, yo, you're the team captain. You're a captain and natural leader. Like, you got to understand that comes with responsibility, accountability, my boy. Drilling him. Finished, no lie, 3.2. Finished high school, 3.2, and got out there to school. And it's just goes to show you what hard work does. I say, ask your teachers, can you make up work? Tell them, can you do extra credit? Tell them, is there another project can you do? Sit and work. Then he did the summer program with us. He was one of the camp visors. And, I mean, kid grew. So in my last project, or not my project, but this last round of kids, which was probably my first big set, that was a success for me to know that I had a direct involvement in watching these kids progress. They didn't think they were going to be there. None of them did. I had some of them say no 3 months prior to they were already committed and we're not going. They had got from an older gentleman, works for the police department. Coach Cruz, Waldemar Cruz, really nice guy. He set that all up for them, but then he left the school differences. So I took over for him and made sure that they're going to stay in that college. So there was 6 out of the 7 saying, I'm not going. I'm like, you know what? Did any of y'all tell Cruz? Nope. You're going to call him right now. You're going to tell him. You're going to disappoint a man who busted his ass the whole time. And I kept asking him why. And it's crazy because as much as we don't understand it, as men, we all have the same fears, man. Mm-hmm. No matter who you're looking at across from you, all that beef and all those things that are happening, 9 times out of 10, what you call your op that's somebody who's feeling just like you. If you would only give it a second to listen to that man's words, I guarantee he's going to say sentences that remind you of yourself. And we had a real big breakdown where I sat them all down and I asked them about fear. I said, what do you think your biggest challenge is? And Eli's one of those kids that he'll say something. He's like, fear. I was like, good, let's lock into that. Who has fears? All of them. All right, let's break down fears. What are you fearing? 1, I fear for my little sister. In this world, I don't know if I'm going to be protected the way I do. He's in 12th grade. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be his responsibility, but it's amazing that at that age, that was his maturation of concern.
Right.
That's some mature thought for a 12th grader. I hate to say it, but his concern had nothing to do with his own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nowadays, dude, kids at that age, all they care about is their own
right.
bullshit.
So I knew we were on the right path. Now, what are we going to do with that? Another one, he lost his mom. He says he gets sick of his own thoughts. Lost my mom early. It's never been the same. I get depressed. People don't believe I'm depressed. I fear what I feel for myself. Cool. Another person, what do you fear? Failure. What about failure? What do you feel about failure? Then another person, yeah, I agree, failure. Okay, failure. What do you feel? So we got into this point where everybody starts saying their fears, and you got to see how serious these young men got in that circle. And it really helped me as a person who wants to help to see that, and we just dug right in. What can we do about fear? Well, I think the statement is there's no such thing as fear. It's just a lack of management to your own thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I love that because Kobe, one of the greatest, Kobe being, man, fear is it's just an illusion, right?
Yeah.
You're having a fear of something. You're the one that's stopping yourself. You don't even know what's going to happen. So it's just a lack of managing your own thoughts. That's all that's happening at that moment. So I dug into them, movement of mindset. I dug into them, the growth mindset. I kept hammering them. 6 months later, 7 months later, they're all in college, and I love that. And that was probably one of my biggest things this year that happened that really put me on the game. And then moving forward, I still work with them in college. I work with their coach. I speak with them. And now that's a true fellowship mentorship program that I have with kids only 19 years old. And I love that idea. And that was probably the biggest success of this year for You Fitness. And to me, that's what I wanted it to be. I didn't want it to be just weights. I think at some point I was done lifting. I know I can lift my ass off. Mm-hmm. What good does that do anybody? Right? Mm-hmm. I can flex on TV. I did it. I could flex, and I want to create real change. I want to change somebody's life, whether it's one person at a time. When you do that, there's this effect that happens. I love when my daughter came with us. She wanted to sit in the all boys group with me and sit and watch me mentor them. I could feel her eyes just beaming on me the whole time. Like, I know she's just soaking it in. What is he telling these young men? She's my biggest critic, and she's probably the one I worry about the most. Don't get mad, baby. I'm sorry, Angie.
Well, she's probably your
She
biggest.
won't listen to this, bro. We covered the porn earlier. She's not listening to this.
She blacked it out already.
It's amazing, guys. I think when you take experiences, the biggest thing for me is you have to take your experiences exactly what they're designed for. It's to teach you the value of life and the lessons that life has to give to you. You can't shut that down. You can't stay from being vulnerable to life and learning. You have to be vulnerable to pain, to hurt. And I've become a person that if I'm not in pain, which is a little crazy when I say it, but I'm not comfortable with being comfortable. I'm not comfortable with being challenged. If I'm sitting in a house and I have a great month or 2 months, and I'm like, nope, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. I tell my girl, come here, babe, come here, what? You know what I did last night? Trying to get an argument. Trying to get into a fight. I'm like, I did something. I need you to piss me off so I can get driven. But ideally, I think we're at a generation of age where we're hearing a lot of things, and everybody's got this, oh, what about me mentality, or like, get your ass up. That's what about you. Do that thing. You don't like something, change it. That's your body instinctively telling you this is not for you. And it's that easy. Although it's not that easy, but it is that easy. Like, you don't like your job, do me a favor. Get up and go. We had a talk when I opened up my gym. We had a good talk. And I know he was doing mechanic or no.
Truck driving.
Truck driving.
Yeah.
Mechanic was from the movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
From our movie. Go ahead and watch that movie. It's bad as hell.
Bloodbound.
By the way. Bloodbound. YouTube. Check it out. DV, Nanny V.
There you go.
Killed it.
Cheap plug there, huh?
Cheap plug. There you go.
Cheap plug.
Yep.
Great acting in there, bro.
Yes, it was.
And you get a couple of the cuts of booty. But we had a great talk, and we were talking about like he was talking about working a lot of work, and I was telling him, I was like, I was telling you, I was scared. I fear the hell out of. I don't have life insurance. Mm. You know what I mean? I'm out here struggling, and I just jumped out the woodwork. Like, I'm gonna open up a business here, $50,000, all our savings. Benjamin Vasquez, a great friend of mine, and my girlfriend Angie. They put their life into this too, and we just did it. And I was so scared, and now I ain't scared about nothing. It's on.
That's a gamble, especially opening a business during COVID. That's a fucking.
So
that's a gamble.
We opened up the physical business 2 years ago. And that now it has this like super overhead, and that's what I was fearing.
Yeah.
I'm like, not only do I got to make money, I got to keep the roof over the head now.
Yeah.
I just spent $50,000 on 30 on weights and 10 on turf, and I'm your product. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not an intangible concept, right? Like, I'm something you can't touch, So I'm selling me these thoughts, these feelings in my heart. But everything was referral based. And the first year, we were like at a loss of like 1,000, I think. The second year, because the first year before, I was legal about a half a year prior to opening up. So that first half year, we were about 1,000. We broke even, or it was like 2,000. But this year, we wrecked shop. And it was just good. It was just great energy, the idea, even through the tough times. So I've really stopped trying to let those fears of growth. I think that's important to say. I really stopped the fear of growth. I think a lot of us are scared of it. We want it. we're always looking at the end result. But I'm not scared of growth anymore or failure to the growth. Like, then if it doesn't happen, I'll just keep knocking on the door this way. And I feel like God keeps giving me these pieces where I meet wonderful people and they come back all the way around out of nowhere. Like, me and Danny might hang out every once in a while because, you know, like I said, I know good people when I see them. I saw something so good in Danny, I had to call him, like, happy birthday, my boy. Like, you're a blessed individual. I want to be with people like that the rest of my life. I don't have time to be with anything else. Mm-hmm. I won't waste my time with anybody who has negative thoughts, who wants to sit in negative thoughts, who thinks that every single night in the club is the night out. Don't get me wrong, I still love to have fun. I'm a city boy. I love fun, but to an extent.
Right.
There got to be something bigger at a purpose of life. And what are you doing if that's all it is? So when you start to meet people like Danny and Rick and Ricky and yourself, and I laughed because this conversation we had, and he was like, man, bro, hey, but you jumped out. And, man, I'm proud of you. It's like, I wish I could do that. Now I'm watching this cabrón. Sitting here and doing a podcast, which you guys are loving. Wrestling is going through the roof. What, you've been on Power, several times. I just got a chance to meet you. But
he's done some porn too.
Yeah,
I did. It's later in the archives.
Later in the archives.
Yeah.
You really got to search for it.
Oh, no, what do I got to look up, bro?
you gotta look.
I'm never gonna let him live it down. I gotta tell you. We're going back to the nails.
You gotta look up chiquito pero picoso. That's what you gotta look up, man. Short but spicy.
Danny's everywhere nowadays, man.
I love it. That's a beautiful thing. But loving what you do and learning to jump out I think that's the opposite of the narrative out here. They're telling us what we can't have.
Speaking of acting, how was your experience dealing with Danny as the brain, so to speak, behind the operation there?
Yeah.
That was Danny's first big thing, like, doing his own movie.
I loved it.
I'm still mad that I didn't get casted on that shit, but still, let's
I didn't know he wanted to roll, bro. I wouldn't know. I don't know he felt that way about it. I was like, yeah, bro, go ahead.
Well, first of all,
I thought I could have been the other brother.
Well, first of all, I don't know if you're bald. You got a hat on, but I don't know.
He's
he's bald. Okay, I can't give no excuses.
Yeah. He could have been the fourth brother.
There you go. He could have been like the stepchild.
He could have been the one that got shot.
He could have been the foster kid.
He could have been the one that got shot.
That would have been nice.
I would have been the one doing the shooting, bro.
Bro, I'm always getting shot. Why do you want to shoot my big ass? Everywhere I go, okay, Chris Endy dies. I'm like, why? What I get shot for all the time? But it was a great experience. I love acting. I used to do playwriting as a kid when I was in California for a thing called Teen Connection. So they paid us a little stipend and we got to write plays. And I actually did acting in all the schools. We acted our plays out. So we went on a big retreat. We wrote 3 plays, and then the 12 of us as kids traveled through all the inner cities and did the plays. So I've always loved acting, and I think I'm pretty decent at it because I enjoy it. I enjoy it, but it was freaking cool when it happened. I was like, yo, I was telling my girls, like, babe, yo, they asked me for this movie. I'm so happy. I was like, I'm so good. I'm so nervous. I was looking at the thing over and over again. I was like, when I had my part, I knew I was going to go that route with that part, and I just think they loved it.
Oh, man, it was fucking
but
awesome.
I knew the fucking writing he did. It was great. I was like, oh, man, so this is basically my life, that Latino life, right? You hate your brothers hate you. Like, he was essentially writing about his own family, It was his birthday when we threw it, so nobody showed up.
So no one had heat
that time, dog.
Yeah, we were supposed to do a celebration for the movie, but nobody showed up.
Nobody showed up, bro. Everyone hated me that weekend, bro.
The only one that was there was his wife. So his wife.
They have the heat schedule.
They have the heat schedule. I wrote it in the script, bro.
Like,
heat from the family. Nobody shows up.
Daddy needs support. Check. Fuck that.
I wrote it in the script, bro. I did. I made a point.
The movie was great, man. I had such a good time doing it. I really hope. I know he has an idea for the second, a prequel. I think he needs to hurry the fuck up before I get any older, because then I'm gonna shred up for that picture. But, I'm gonna shred.
I did want to do the second part. Then that's when Rocky passed away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because Rocky was gonna be a big part of the second one. Yeah, and unfortunately, rest in peace, Rocky.
Another good dude, man.
Yeah,
man, life takes you at no.
Another great guy, man. And
life is not prejudice, man. This world is not prejudice to color, skin, and as much as I love being Latino, man, as much as I love being Puerto Rican, I just love being human. I always look at people like that. I really don't see shade unless you're just a shady person. 100%. I probably shouldn't say it, but I will make fun of some of y'all,
Ooh, let's have it.
By
I
color,
will
just
talk
a,
shit,
just,
I'm
just a
just
tad
saying.
bit stereotypes coming out every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna shoot them out there at y'all. You know, but it's cool. But yeah, no, that was so unfortunate. But the movie was so great, man, and it was just
It was a great
good
weekend,
chance.
bro.
Yeah,
It was a great weekend. We had so much fun that weekend.
So the Dan Putin thing happened so fucking like so funny. So we're doing the scene where Enrique is like, you know, fuck this guy, me. Like,
Oh,
you
when he
know,
goes
fuck
into
was
the
he?
house, right?
yeah,
When he goes to the
I
house.
sent you the video, right?
Yeah.
I sent him the video.
When he first of all, when he kicks the bag, it was priceless because we didn't know that was gonna happen. So he's got this big army bag on the floor, right? And then for this guy, he kicks it. I was like, oh. First of all, how the fuck did the bar travel that far? I mean, how the bag traveled that far? I was like, okay, there must not be no clothes in that motherfucker.
It was though, bro. I filled it up with clothes.
Dude, he kicked it. That shit said, whoo, right? But then when he came out, damn, I was like, I'm done.
And then even Danny, the one who filmed it and directed, he's like, "We're still recording." He's like, "Oh, man.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. That was my favorite blooper. What's up with this? We're still recording.
We had so much fun with that, man. It was quite an experience. I'm looking forward to more. Like, they keep telling me, like, get your resume together. You belong on the screen. I kind of do. I want to make sure I have the time to be good at
You
it.
got that presence, bro. You have that presence on screen, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're good at it, bro.
We had a
Real
blast,
good at
man.
it.
We had a blast. I hope that is my future run. I do really want to act. I enjoy it. I also sing a little bit of country. Shh, don't tell nobody.
Puerto Rican country.
Puerto Rican country.
Well, you know, I'm not Puerto Rican.
Bro,
you know.
if Darius Rucker can sing country, bro.
It's the white and black side of him.
There you go.
That
You know
he
what I'm saying?
that he lived through. There you go.
Well, my girlfriend's from the island, so she made me laugh because she knows I used to date a lot of white girls. I hate to say this, so a lot of white chicks. She's like,
Ain't
you
nothing wrong
love
with
them,
that, bro.
yeah,
Ain't
no.
nothing wrong with that.
I say
He's
the
married
same
to
thing.
he's married to a white
My
girl.
wife's
I
Irish.
say
So.
this. Oh God, God bless you. I love them. They're so tough, bro. My girlfriend makes fun of me all the time.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
what you like. Do you like that bland food? You like that? I was like, what are you talking about, bland food? I was like,
That non-seasoned food.
right. I was like, they put a little bit of salt and everything. Stop lying. I was like, okay, all right. But,
Ketchup isn't seasoning.
But I got her singing country now. Now my Boricua girls, and my girlfriend actually sang professionally. She traveled with singers all throughout Puerto Rico, and she came down here and sang. She's got a voice of an angel. She got a beautiful voice. So I laugh when she be trying to get me to karaoke because I'm like, no, bitch, you ain't gonna make me look bad. Fuck you,
Because you would embarrass yourself.
Fuck you.
Don't drag me down
I'm
with
gonna get
you.
over this. She's gonna like, no, you sing.
The other weird thing is, like, I see you and I would picture like a DMX song popping out.
Oh,
of you.
I have those. I love these.
So let's see.
Just
Let's
bark.
see.
I love the. Yeah, that's exactly
That's
where I
it.
go. So she does. Her favorite song is Lauryn Hill.
Ready or not?
No,
Here I
no.
come.
So the slow song.
God damn it! I had beer in my mouth. That's all I was spitting out.
That,
Where, where it's got Wycliffe in the back. It goes one time. Ooh.
oh,
You know that
so-
one? Yeah.
oh, I heard he sang a good
She sings the
song.
hell out of that. So
I heard he had a stop. That one, right?
yes,
Yeah.
So I be in the background all the time. One time, 2 times. Then I be
He
like,
thinks he's in a music video. In the
then I be like,
background.
everybody put your hands up. They looking at me like, who the fuck is that guy? I'm like, put your hands up, yo. And we have
They're
such
inside.
a blast.
They're
so-
inside Walmart.
I'll embarrass the hell out of my family. Yo, my daughter walks in and plays with me. She's like, okay, whatever you do, don't say nothing stupid. I'm like, oh, that's gonna happen now. I walk in like,
Now that's a challenge.
yo, 100 challenge accepted.
That's
yo.
like open up the book for it. You
Yo,
know.
Yep.
My girlfriend's my girlfriend's daughter. We were at the hip mall and we're going downstairs and I was like, man, what if I just started yelling and dancing and playing? She's like, don't you dare do that. So she got all stiff like this. Don't you dare do that. We get down and I was like, everybody, come close, pay attention. People are at the hip mall here. We're just down the middle. My girl's like, oh my God. I was like, come on, listen. Ooh, it's our singing. I start dancing. She just stood still like this, a little thought. I was like, come listen, we're gonna sing and dance. I had all of the hip mall looking at us, and I never seen a little girl freeze so much in my life.
That's opening up the book right
But
there.
that's the fully shit.
Did you guys see that video that went viral about this one dad that was wanted to embarrass his son one last time before school finished, and they're waiting for the school bus to come in? It's the last day of school, and as I see the bus coming in, like down the street, he's got a whole band in the
yeah,
garage.
you sent me that.
Yeah, and they started playing "Schools Out for Summer" from and then so then the kid comes in and he just starts rocking out Alice Cooper there. He's like, "Schools out foul.
Him and all his
Salah!
friends.
That's
And they're
awesome.
just jamming out all these old timers. You know,
That's
they're all
awesome.
like, they're hair banging and shit. The kid gets out of the school bus and just like,
Just walking straight.
just walk straight through, and they're just jamming out.
Be glad if you got parents like that.
Oh,
Just
right.
be glad, man.
My kid's gonna
Yeah.
live through that shit because
I live to embarrass
yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah,
man.
dude.
Listen, I live to embarrass.
I think it's a dad's duty to do that shit.
think
If,
so, too.
yeah.
if don't no dads out there trying to embarrass their family, they're not really doing it.
Yeah,
right.
you're losing at the dad position right
Absolutely.
there, man. You're not coming off the bench. That's for damn sure. Look, I'm a starter at that shit. I was a Heisman Trophy winner and embarrassment.
I'm an
to my
MVP.
kids. I'm painting my nails and scoring touchdowns at this point because I live for that shit, man. Hey, man, my daughter records me now. She waits. Actually, she got a TikTok of me where I was trying to race the kids this year. I blew out both my hamstrings. You know what's trying to run a 40-yard dash like I was like Kevin Hart, right? Like he's trying to.
Oh, when he fucked himself up?
So
Yeah,
I'm trying
yeah.
to race the kids. So I was timing them to see their speed, and then we were going to time it later on that day, and we are going to split into teams. So I'm watching everybody, and I'm like, I used to be pretty fast. In fact, I'm still pretty fast for my size. I'm 240, but I can move. So I was like, I could do that. And my daughter right away was like, "Don't try it, Poppy. Don't try it." I'm like, "What you mean? I'm built for this. It's what I do. I'm coach." I start flexing. Let's go. She recorded the whole thing. I got like 10 feet. Plop. One went. Another one. Plop. Both tires flat. I was like, She put it up on TikTok. You guys got to see it, man.
let's see.
She
Where's
put
that?
like sound effects. Me, 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 me.
I gotta say, where's that video, bro?
Oh, man,
Where's
hey.
that video? We gotta see it.
I gotta
Tell her to send it to me.
you.
This is the video we're posting for the
Let's see that
podcast.
video.
Bro, it's freaking hilarious.
our
She
next
posted
guest.
it. Yes. Loved it. I was like, get that camera out my face, man. She's in my forehead. I'm like, why are you showing big ass cabeza, right? Like big
It's
head.
gonna be but on the next episode, our next guest, fitness guru. He just falls and shit, grabbing his hamstring.
Man, I was so messed up. I bet I shouldn't do it. The next day, I tied them up like Rambo because we had a dodgeball game between the seniors or all of the kids and the staff. And my staff is looking hurting. There's like 4 of us that are decent, and the other 10 are like all like, no. I was like, no, we ain't losing like that. I'm tying these things up. I got big bows on my thing. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. I'm throwing stuff. Hey, I'm an idiot, but I don't have it in me anymore, man. I am not running no more.
I'm gonna post a picture of
try it.
that Peter Griffin spot where he falls on the ground and goes. It's gonna be that, and it's just gonna be a hint of next week's episode.
Man.
Some of the kids were loving it. Like the first kid post, like, why isn't this viral? The second kid was like, but tell me why he started bouncing like a frog. Because when I dropped, I was dropping it like it was hot. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, these hammies.
He starts twerking. He starts twerking.
I looked at my younger trainer, Sam. I was like, Sam, come help me. I'm walking on his shoulder like, dying laughing. My daughter was just all about a camera in my face. I'm like, get out of my face,
We need
man.
that.
This is a serious injury.
We need
Horrible.
that video. We need
Yes,
that video.
I got you. She'll be proud. She'll be proud. If she's proud of that video, man.
Oh
So,
man, brother,
Yeah,
as we start finishing off here, bro. Dude, what's your goals, man? What are you trying to accomplish next, man? For the fitness journey,
Yeah.
for everything else, man.
yeah, so right now we're working on a nonprofit portion to develop a little bit bigger. My goal is like kind of a double dynamic. We want to use the violence prevention, but I want to cut a lot of it being focused on the violence portion and focus more on the leadership and understanding how to commit to your future. Right.
Okay.
So I'm going to change it from strive for change, which is what it is now, and I'm going to change it. You lead the way. I like the idea of management. So we're going to get a nonprofit portion. Right now, we're trying to open up the sports section of it, baseball being one of the predominant ones for the Latinos in Humboldt Park. But we want to create a nonprofit that helps those families as well, help those kids who are really just good at what they do and can't afford to make it to those other places where they should be. You know, when you're playing baseball and you're in a travel team, you're hitting up to California, you're hitting up to Boston, you're headed up to, Carolina, Florida, all those big spots, big names. Those things cost $450. Not to mention the travel, hotel. So I want to kind of have something where if you got the grades, if you're doing the right thing, can we help out? Predominantly, I would like to see youth fitness now become a community center. Mm-hmm. And I almost take the name fitness out. I just want it to be you.
You?
Yeah, I just want to focus on people, man. I'm 100% knowing that the rest of my life is built on helping people and assisting people in a social, in a heartfelt way, financial if we can. I feel like there's a lot of resources out there that are not being used. We're not educated on it. We don't understand it. All the money that's offered, you finish being MBE certified and DBE certified. Big shout out to Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Let me say that. They've been really big on developing me and my entrepreneurship. And I want to open up to everybody. Come see my gym. Come meet our people. Come learn what we're about. And I guarantee you won't be disappointed. So we're in Humble Park.
Well, brother, one thing that I wanted to say after listening to your story and you were talking about acting, if there was ever a movie that needs to be made about somebody, you got a fucking interesting story, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I would love to see that one day.
Man, maybe Danny could direct it. And
let's do it,
baby. Write it, man. I would love
Danny
it, man. I would love it.
Except Enrique has to play you, though.
Yeah, absolutely. There could be no other person ever than Enrique. Absolutely.
No, brother.
Because, he just has that energy. When we drink, we laugh a lot together. I don't drink. Let me stop. But, we have. But I agree. Ricky got to play it, bro. Ricky got to play it, Ricky.
I actually texted him last night to see if he wanted to come through today, hang out, but he had plans today.
That would have been badass.
Yeah. He's like, fuck, man. He's like, I got plans. Yeah. But no, brother. Like I said, when I reached out to you, I said I wanted you to come on because I knew a little bit about your story, man, and the little bit that I knew, it was inspiring already. And now hearing, everything, man. Like you said, like. You have such an inspiring story, man, and I'm grateful that you came. Grateful to know you, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this, brother.
No, listen, I appreciate y'all having me.
We hope you had a good time, bro.
Man, I wish the best for this, man. I hope I can come back on when we start to grow a little bit more. We'd love to do some collab and work over here. I think we got to support each other as men, as Latino men, and just as human beings. But for the most part, man, let's get it going. I'm super proud of this with you guys, man. This is an awesome thing, man. So. Super happy for you. I know you're in your zone right now, enjoying it.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so, we love it, man.
He's great. He's comical. I like him. I can see why he's your guy. Yeah, he got good comings. Like, oh, no, wait, hold on. I'm not letting that one go. I love it,
Yeah.
So, man, kudos to you guys, man. Thank you for having me. Many blessings, man.
Appreciate it, man. Before we head up out of here, man, any last things you want to say?
No, man. Just,
where can people find you, man?
Yeah,
put it out there.
So we're at 1748 Kimball Avenue in Humble Park. Warehouse, nice. We do assistance in helping kids between 15 to 24 and young adults get job works throughout the year. We do a summer program for 14 and up, help them get jobs. I do violence prevention. I train almost anything in the world. But I think the biggest thing that I want to really just say is, just make sure you love yourself. It starts there. Make sure you're accountable to yourself. Respect yourself. And let the chips fall, man. Because when you do those things, man, God provides you with nothing but blessings along the way. They're not meant to be given to you; they're earned. Please don't deny that. You'll earn them, but there's so many blessings on the other side of fear. So challenge your fears, man. Challenge yourself and go get it, man. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Wise words right there, brother. Thank you so much again, man.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming, hanging out with us on this Friday night, brother. Like I said, we hope you had a good time here with us. Definitely have you back on, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man.
Look forward to it.
Absolutely. So big thanks to Chris Marquez for hanging out with us today. Big thanks to our sponsors, the law office of Christopher Hoff and the Taco Villa in Villa Park. Chris, I know you're not drinking, but you got your bottle of water, right?
Yeah, I got my bottle. Actually, you know what? I'll take a sip.
You know what? You know what? Hold on. Before we sign off,
I didn't want them to talk to Beer Chris. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Beer Chris coming out once you turn them off right now.
Tequila Chris. There's a difference. You know what I mean? There's a difference. I'm Latino. There's a difference.
There we go. You want the one we got?
Yeah, I'll try that. I love it because it's brewed from what is it? Brewed from
where's it brewed from, bro? That's this guy. He's the brew guy.
Yeah, no, it's brewed from a Latino man brewed. Self brewed. I love that. Entrepreneur. This is me supporting you, my guy.
No, yeah, thank you. Yeah, there you go. I like that, man.
Just gonna pour this in
here. Get that poured in there, man. That's that Alterado shit right there by Alter Brewing Company.
I'm gonna drink my carbs real quick.
There you go. Drink them.
I don't know, body.
There you go, man. Well, here we go, man. We're gonna do it right, man.
I gotta give cheers to these guys.
Okay. Well, here we go, man. We're gonna sign off with a cheers, saying "Salud, cabrones." So when you're ready, man, 1, 2, 3, we raise up our glasses and say "Salud, cabrones." We out.